Sienna Rothschild was the kind of woman who didn't believe in love, not because she hadn't been given the chance, but because she'd been given far too many. At 29, she was one of New York's wealthiest heiresses, a glittering socialite famous for her sharp wit, stunning beauty, and a firm refusal to ever settle down. The magazines had a nickname for her, the diamond no one could hold. On a stormy Friday night, she found herself at the center of her own engagement party, a lavish affair for a man she didn't love. Her fiancé Damien was perfectly handsome and perfectly dulla. Corporate merger disguised as a man. As cameras flashed and champagne flutes clinked, Sienna wore a smile that never quite reached her eyes. The air was thick with polite applause and whispered gossip. "Let's make a toast," Damien's voice boomed, raising his glass high. "To my beautiful fiancé, the future Mrs. Rothschild." And right then, something inside Sienna snapped. She stood up, her own glass trembling just slightly in her hand. A wicked, startling grin spread across her face, silencing the room. "You know what?" she announced, her voice ringing with newfound clarity. "I'll marry whoever walks through that door next." The crowd chuckled, assuming it was just another one of her famous headline-grabbing outbursts. But fate, or perhaps something a little stranger, was listening, because at that exact moment, a side door creaked open, and in stepped a young woman in a waitress uniform, dripping wet from the relentless rain outside. Her name tag, slightly askew, read Maya. Maya stammered, clutching a stack of napkins. "The kitchen just asked for more glasses." I didn't mean to interrupt, but Sienna wasn't listening to the words. Her heart pounded against her ribs. There was something about this woman, the messy bun coming undone, the nervous but genuine smile, the way the rain clung to her eyelashes like tiny jewels. It disarmed her completely. "You," Sienna said, her voice surprisingly steady, though her pulse was racing. "What's your name?" "Maya," she replied, her face a mask of confusion. Sienna closed the distance between them, the world seeming to fade into the background. "Well, Maya," she said, her voice low but firm, "you've just become the future Mrs. Rothschild." A collective gasp echoed through the ballroom. Cameras clicked in a frenzy. Damien's face turned a shade of crimson. "This is ridiculous," he shouted, his voice cracking with indignation. But Sienna was already laughing a real, genuine, unrestrained laugh, the kind she hadn't let out in years. Later that night, as the party wound down in a flurry of chaos and speculation, Maya tried to slip away unnoticed. But Sienna found her backstage, standing awkwardly near the catering trays. "I'm sorry if I embarrassed you," Sienna said, her tone softer now, all the earlier bravado gone. I couldn't stand pretending anymore." Maya offered a shy smile, looking down at her worn-out shoes. "You're rich, beautiful, and engaged to someone very important. Why are you even talking to me?" "Because you walked in when I needed someone real," Sienna answered honestly. A heavy, warm, and electric silence hung between them. Then Sienna gently reached out and tucked a stray, rain-soaked strand of hair behind Maya's ear. The simple gesture felt more intimate than any kiss she'd ever shared. "Have dinner with me tomorrow," Sienna proposed. "No press, no parties, just us." Maya hesitated, a dozen reasons to say no flashing through her mind, but something in Sienna's eyes, a raw vulnerability, made her nod. "All right, Miss Rothschild, Sienna's grin returned, bright and warm. Sienna, she corrected softly. Just Sienna. The next day, Sienna did something the tabloids had never seen. She showed up at the small, bustling diner where Maya worked, dressed down in simple jeans and a hoodie. She looked completely out of place, yet more at home than ever. Maya brought her a cup of coffee, a playful laugh escaping her. You're terrible at hiding your wealth. Guilty, Sienna admitted, taking a sip, but I'm great at pretending to be normal. Think you can teach me? That one lunch stretched into hours of easy laughter and surprising confessions. Maya talked about growing up in Brooklyn, about working double shifts to help support her younger sister through college. Sienna, in turn, confessed how her sprawling mansion felt more like a golden cage, a beautiful prison of loneliness. They met again and again. The press went absolutely wild. Headlines screamed, Heiress spotted with mystery waitress, and Rothschild calls off engagement for diner date. But for the first time in her life, Sienna didn't care what they wrote. She was too busy discovering what it felt like to be truly happy. A month later, Sienna walked into Maya's diner once more, but this time she was holding a bouquet of simple, cheerful daisies. Remember that night? She asked, her heart in her throat. Maya smiled, wiping down the counter. How could I forget? You almost ruined your engagement over a joke. It wasn't a joke, Sienna said quietly. Her eyes locked on Maya's. It was a wish. Before Maya could even process the words, Sienna took her hand, her touch gentle but firm. You walked through that door, and suddenly everything made sense. I spent my whole life chasing safe and perfect. I don't want that anymore. I want real. I want you. The diner was half full with the usual lunchtime crowd, but in that moment, it felt like the world had stopped spinning just for them. Maya looked at this incredible woman who seemingly had everything, but was now looking at her as if she was the only thing that mattered. Are you sure? Maya whispered, her voice barely audible. Sienna nodded, a tear of pure joy tracing a path down her cheek. I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life. And then, right there in the middle of that little Brooklyn diner, surrounded by the smell of coffee and sizzling bacon, the heiress kissed the waitress. It was a soft, trembling, and utterly perfect kiss, full of a promise that had started with a reckless dare. Months later, a few photos surfaced online. They showed a quiet, beautiful wedding. There was no grand ballroom, no blinding diamonds, no guest list of New York's elite. Just two women, barefoot on a sandy beach, laughing as the ocean tide rolled in to kiss their feet. Reporters dubbed it the most unexpected love story of the year. But whenever Maya was asked how it all happened, how she managed to capture the heart of the diamond no one could hold, she would just smile that same genuine smile from the very first night and say, she told the world she'd marry whoever entered next. I just happened to be the one who walked in. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that remind us love can be found in the most unexpected of places. See you next time.